Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Just V Show Chat with me, Ben Corbett. Everyone at the Just V team is desperate to see you this autumn in London. Get your free tickets in the video description. So we're halfway through series 1. Thanks for all your messages of support and encouragement. Genuinely, it means so much. In fact, so many of you have been getting in touch that we wanted to provide you with a platform to reach out and thank those that have helped you through lockdown. We want to champion the brands, the shopkeepers, the companies, or anyone else that's gone above and beyond to support our wonderful plant-based community. So get in contact with us on social media or email at info@f2fevents.co.uk and we will share your JVS Chat Champions with the world. Who deserves that title? Who is it that's made sure that you don't have to compromise when your beliefs mean compromising isn't an option? We're actually going to kick off with a nomination from a visitor from our Scotland show who wants to give a shout out to Scottish beer company Brewdog, who've used their distillery to create and distribute over £1 million worth of hand sanitizer for the NHS, frontline workers and care homes north of the border. Nice one, Brewdog, JVS Chat Champions of the Week. Get your nominations in for next week, guys. So, on to today's show. It's only a flipping cook along with Copperconfetti, Sara Pinkus. Right, I'm going to bring Sara into the virtual studio now.
Hello.
Hey, Sara, how you doing? I'm going to pop
good,
your recipe
How
up
are
now.
you?
Yeah, I'm good. Anything nice planned for the bank holiday weekend?
Not really, and unfortunately, I know that you guys have really, really nice weather, but it is atrocious up here. It is raining and grey and cold, so I think it'll be a fairly quiet one in the house, hiding from the weather.
Luckily, you guys can. You've got amazing culinary skills, so you'll be able to do some baking and stuff, I'm sure, and feast for the weekend. Okay, so what are you going to be cooking for us today?
Yeah, so today I'm going to make my vegan and gluten-free katsu curry with cornflake tofu.
Nice. I've never heard of cornflake tofu. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's one that because I did the katsu curry at the allergy show in March, I was kind of experimenting a bit with what you could have with it. And this is a solid favourite of ours now.
Nice. Okay, well, I'm going to drop out and put you full screen so you can show us how you do it.
Okay, sounds good. So first of all, I'll get my pan on. Okay, we don't want it too hot. So to that, you want to add about a tablespoon of oil. And then we want to, so basically for this, you're going to use red pepper, carrot, onion, and garlic to begin with. So we want to chop up our onion fairly finely. And I will watch my fingers, Ben, don't worry. And obviously you can do this in quite big chunks if you've got a bit more time to let it cook. But because I want it to cook quite quickly, I'm just going to chop it quite finely. Okay, and we'll add that to our pot. And for this recipe, if you are low FODMAP, which I've done the diet myself, instead of using garlic and oil separately, you could use garlic infused oil. Down a wee bit. There we go.
Is it possible for you to tell us a little bit about what a low FODMAP diet is? Because I guess a few people from our Just V show might not necessarily know.
Yeah, so basically it's a diet where you avoid all short chain carbohydrates. So it's a diet that was founded for people who suffer with IBS. Because IBS is a difficult one because everybody is completely individual. Everybody has different intolerances. So there isn't a sort of one diet fits all. And the low FODMAP diet is an elimination diet where you eliminate all of these short chain carbohydrates that cause people with IBS problems. And then you reintroduce them slowly to figure out what your individual intolerances are. And then you can avoid them from your diet from then on and keep eating sort of the other foods that you like. So it's a really good one, and it's made a huge difference to my life doing it. Okay, so to that I've added a garlic clove, and that's just cooking slightly there. And then we want to add about half a red pepper. Obviously, you can kind of double up on this recipe if you're making a batch, and it does freeze really well as well. So you can make a big batch and freeze half of it. Get rid of these. And again, I'll chop this up quite finely just because it will cook a bit faster. And again, if you've not got red pepper, you could use green pepper or yellow pepper. Obviously, you won't get quite as nice a colour, but it should still taste as good. And we'll add that in. There we go. Let's give that a stir. And then we've got half a grated carrot. I did that earlier just so that I'm a bit more prepared. We want to add that in. Okay. And then you just want to kind of fry that off. Put my pan down too low now. It was going mad a minute ago. So you want to fry that off, and then we're going to add just a tiny bit of water to it, just to kind of cover the veg. And then we'll pop the pan lid on, and that'll help to start steaming the veg and just soften them all up. There we go. That's starting to look a bit better now. So get a wee bit of colour on them first. Okay. And then I'm going to add, now I've got stock for later, so I'm just going to add a tiny bit of the stock rather than water. And you're basically just adding it just to almost cover the veg that you can see there. And it's just for the veg to sit inside and start steaming. Okay, I'll pop the lid on there. And I'll put it up a wee bit. This hob's slightly temperamental, so I'll keep an eye on that, but it should be okay. So while we're waiting for that to steam, I can start looking at my cornflake tofu. So basically what I like to do with the tofu is I get a big chunk of, I use the tofu, I think it's called, tofu, because you don't have to press it. So obviously if you get one that you do have to press that in advance, and I tend to just put like a big chopping board and something heavy on top, and that will press the water out of it. And then I just sort of half it and kind of tear it. Can you see that in the camera okay? There we go. So you've got kind of like two big chunks. It's quite a lot of tofu, but it is really tasty, so we can get through that, no bother. So I'll leave that to the side just now. And then for this, we're going to make a bit of a batter with some gluten-free flour, some paprika with garlic powder, and then we're going to coat it in cornflakes. So it's a really, really simple one, and you can use it for loads of stuff. You could use it for other veg and just roast off the veg and have that in a bit of a batter just to make it a wee bit more interesting. So I'm just going to check on this just now. So they're starting to cook off slightly. And now we can start to add all our nice spices that make it taste like a katsu curry. Good. Okay, so first of all, we're going to add half a tablespoon of curry powder. Now, I tend to go for a more mild to medium curry powder because I find out that spice is one of my triggers from IBS. So I don't like it too spicy. So about half a tablespoon of curry powder. And then we want about half a teaspoon of garam masala, which hopefully you'll all have in the house because it's absolutely gorgeous and goes with everything and makes a really, really nice curry. And then we've got a teaspoon of tomato puree, a teaspoon of maple syrup, or you could use agave syrup for that as well if you wanted. And then we've got half a tablespoon of tamari, which is gluten-free soy sauce, but obviously if you're not gluten-free you could just use regular soy sauce. As far as I can remember, it tastes exactly the same, but it's been so long since I've had regular soy sauce, I'm not really sure. We'll give that a bit of a stir. And then we'll add 1 bay leaf, which I do tend to forget about. So if you do forget about it or you don't have it, don't worry, it doesn't make a huge difference. So pop that in there, and then you can add the rest of your stock. So it will look quite runny just now, but it will start to cook off a bit more. And then once we blitz it, we'll be blitzing all the veg, so it'll all start to come together and it'll make quite a nice thick sauce. Okay, so that is everything that you need in the katsu curry sauce, and we can just leave that to cook for a while we prepare the tofu. So I'll maybe even put that up slightly. There we go. Right, so I'll leave that as it is just now. So now we can prepare the tofu. And this is where it does get a wee bit messy, but I feel like that's okay. So I've got, oh, before I forget, nearly forgot a very crucial part of that. To thicken the katsu curry sauce, you want to add about a tablespoon of gluten-free plain flour. You could use corn flour as well, or regular flour, obviously, if you're not gluten-free. And the good thing about this is because you're going to blitz it all at the end, you don't need to worry if it starts to make kind of lumps, if it's not sort of blending properly with the sauce, because we'll blitz it at the end, so it will all come together eventually. So don't worry about that. It might look a bit strange, but by the end of it, it will be really tasty. Right, so now we can move on to the tofu. So we've got our gluten-free plain flour, and then to that, we want to add probably about half a teaspoon of paprika and half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And again, you can kind of add whatever you fancy to this. You could put some herbs in, you could put a bit more paprika, a bit more garlic powder, depending on what you fancy. Just give that a good mix through. I think I'll maybe put a wee bit more paprika in because I'm quite a fan of paprika. Okay. And then we're going to add water to this and just sort of create a bit of a paste to coat the tofu in so that the cornflakes have something to stick to. So I'm just going to do one just now just to show you. Oh, we'll add the water before we do the tofu. I'm getting ahead of myself today. So you just want to add a bit of water, a wee bit at a time, and just mix it through. And I actually find that plain flour works better for this than corn flour. I find that with the corn flour, it goes a bit kind of squeaky, which I don't love. So I would recommend plain flour. And then you just want to add a little bit at a time, just until you get the consistency that you're looking for. And hopefully not too many lumps either. So a wee bit. And it's making a nice colour as well. It'll give your tofu quite a nice colour. I think we're nearly there now. Oh, I wish you could smell that curry sauce. It smells absolutely gorgeous already. Right, I think that's us nearly there. So you've got a kind of, it looks a bit like a paste. It doesn't look overly appetizing at the moment, but we can use it as a kind of glue. Right, I think that should be enough now. Give that a good stir. And then you take one of your pieces of tofu and just dip it in. And just coat it in this as much as you can. Make sure you get in all the wee cracks and bumps, because you want as many cornflakes on this as possible to get it nice and crunchy. Okay, and then I'll grab my cornflakes. Now I crushed these cornflakes up earlier, so you just want to take, that's probably about 3 handfuls of cornflakes, and then crush them up into smaller pieces, just because then they'll stick to the tofu better. So dip that in. Now it's a slightly messy job, as you can see, but you have to have a bit of fun in the kitchen. Okay, so just stick as much as that on as you can. And again, all around the sides. because you want it really coated as much as possible. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this to the side just now, and we'll fry that in a wee minute. Just give my hands a bit of a wipe, they're a wee bit of a mess now. And we can check on our katsu curry. So if you can see the colours of this, it's looking lovely and it's got a nice kind of brown. And I find sometimes that when you buy a katsu curry, or if you get a katsu curry when you're out, it's almost a kind of a dirty brown colour, which isn't overly appetising, but I feel like this one you get a really nice sort of reddy brown. So I would say that's just about there. Obviously, if you've got a bit more time, you can kind of leave it to cook for as long as you've got. But I'm just going to speed this one up a wee bit. And because I chopped everything finely at the beginning, it doesn't take as long to cook. But obviously, if you have got time, chop everything up really roughly, bung it in and leave it to cook for as long as you've got. Right, so we're going to fish out the bay leaf first of all. Get rid of that. And then we'll get our hand blender. Now, I really should have worn an apron for this, so I'm hoping I don't end up in a bit of a mess, but we shall see. And then this might be a wee bit loud, but you just want to blend it down. You can blend it down until it's as smooth as you like it. You can either have it really smooth or you can have it a wee bit thicker if you like sort of chunks of edge in there. I like mine really, really smooth. So I'm going to blitz this for a wee minute or two. I think that's looking pretty good already. So you can see that's a nice sort of almost kind of goldeny brown, which I think looks so much more appetizing than some of the kind of the dirty brown ones you see. Right, so I think that'll do that for just now. Just going to get rid of this. Try and not get it everywhere. Okay, and then we can leave that just to kind of thicken up a wee bit. Obviously, if you cook it for a wee bit longer, it will go a bit thicker just because it's the flour's got a bit more time to go through it. But I'm going to stick this to the side so we can get on with cooking our tofu. So I'll pop this out of the road. And then for the tofu, I'm not going to lie, it's not the healthiest of options, but as a wee treat, it's really, really tasty. So you want to get a pan that's big enough to fit your tofu in. So depending on how many portions you're doing, you'll want a slightly bigger pan. And then we want probably too much oil. Just a sort of a covering at the bottom, maybe a centimetre or two at the bottom of the pan, just so that the tofu's got something to sit in. So you just want to bring that up to a bit of a heat. And then make sure your tofu is still looking nice and coated in cornflakes. It's not looking too bad. And then as soon as this is hot enough, we're just going to pop the tofu into the oil and then just leave it for maybe a minute or two on each side and turn it round so that everything gets nice and golden and crunchy and the tofu is sort of cooked through. I think we're nearly there.
Sarah, I think what's really interesting about this is there's going to be so many people at home that maybe have got some cornflakes sort of sitting in their cupboard or whatever and haven't thought to use them like this. I assume that the first time you did this was to do with not wanting to use breadcrumbs due to your gluten-free diet.
Exactly.
But it's so relevant I think it's really relevant for everyone at the moment because so many people have been asking us, what can I make with stuff that I've just got laying around or left around? I think this is perfect for that.
Definitely, and that's what I find. I mean, we've used it for a lot of different things, and it was that way that one day I thought I really want to do some breaded. It was actually breaded tofu that I wanted to try out, and I thought I've got no breadcrumbs. I don't find gluten-free bread works particularly well for breadcrumbs, and I saw the cornflakes and I thought, that might work. And now I'm coating everything in cornflakes. Okay, so that the oil's nice and hot. Maybe put it down a wee sec. So you want to just pop your tofu into your pan and just watch for splashback with this. There we go. So you can see that's nice and hot. And you just want to fry it, sort of shallow fry it in there for a wee minute or two. You just keep an eye on it until it starts to go brown, and then you can turn it over. And you just want to do that on each side until it's done. Flipper. So it doesn't take too long. And tofu is actually one thing that we've found is actually been really easy to get at the moment. I don't think we've been to a shop at all where they've not had any tofu. So it's become kind of a bit of a staple for us because it's so easy to get, and you can have it with so many different things that it is really versatile. Okay, you can see that the cornflakes in there are starting to go brown, so that's good. That means it's at a good temperature. Okay, just going to see how, just to give you a wee idea. Oh, a lot of the cornflakes have fallen off. That was obviously typical today, but if you do take a wee bit more time and if your batter's slightly thicker, you'll probably get a wee bit more to stick on there. And it's going to taste nice either way, but you like to get a bit of a proper sort of crunchy coating. So we're just going to give that a wee minute or so on that side. And then with this, I mean, the katsu sauce, I absolutely love it because it's an easy one to make. It tends to be stuff that you've got in the house, and you can have it with whatever you've got. So we've had it with tofu, we've had it with just sort of roasted veg, we've actually had it just with rice, just the sauce and the rice if we've just fancied something quick and hearty. So it's something that you can make a big batch of it. You could freeze half of it. To be honest, it doesn't last long enough in this house to be able to freeze it. But it's a really good one to have. So see how
I think it's so tempting to buy yourself a ready-made sauce. So it's been really useful for me to see how easy it is to make a sauce like that from scratch.
Yeah.
I just don't do stuff like that enough, and it looks amazing. It looks really fresh, really nice.
Yeah, and that's
really
what I found as well. So the first time we made it, I had no idea. Like, I knew I liked a katsu curry sauce, but I had no idea what was actually in it. So I couldn't, like, I had to do a bit of research before I could kind of put it together. And it turns out it's actually really, really simple. And one thing that we tried with it recently was a lot of people say that they like my version of it because it's not got coconut milk in it, because a lot of people can have issues with coconuts. And we've tried adding a bit of coconut milk to it, and I actually think it tastes nicer without it. So, I mean, it's even less ingredients, and it's all stuff that you should have there.
Have you found yourself experimenting more under lockdown when you've got sort of a bit more time at home and stuff like that? Is there anything that you've sort of discovered that you hadn't done before?
I definitely have been sort of, I think I've actually gone back to quite a lot of my old recipes and sort of gone, oh, I haven't done that for ages, and I've tried that out again, kind of tweaked bits. We do a Friday bake along with some of the girls from school. And every Friday night we bake something. So we pick what we're going to bake beforehand, and then we all bake it together on Zoom. So I have discovered that I do not make a good empire biscuit, so I'm going to have to work on that. But it's been really nice just to, because I'm not normally a baker. I like to cook. Baking, I like on an occasion, but I do find it's a bit more tricky, especially with gluten-free flour and gluten-free ingredients. So it's been quite interesting to experiment with that a bit, and I do find I enjoy it more now. So I think after sort of lockdown, that will be something that I'll continue to do.
Nice. We've actually got Danielle watching along in the studio at the moment, who's said hi in the chat. She's a vegan pastry chef. She's going to come along and do some vegan baking for us in a few weeks, which will be cool.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I will definitely hopefully get some tips then. Right, so I think that tofu is about ready now. It looks nice and cooked all the way through. It's nice and hot to the touch. And all of the cornflakes that have stayed on are nice and golden. So I'm going to pop that off and just take that out. And if you want, you can get just a bit of kitchen roll and just sort of take any excess oil off it. And then with this one, we're just going to serve it nice and simply with, we've got some rice here. I'll just pop this out the road. Set this out the way. And then we'll just have a quick look at our katsu curry. Yeah, so it's still looking quite nice and smooth. So you could stick this on again a wee bit just to thicken it up, but that should do for just now. So we want to, just for plating, you've got your rice, and you can just kind of pop your chunk of tofu there, and hopefully you can see it does look quite nice and crispy. Obviously, it's not the prettiest looking thing, but it's really, really nice, so that makes up for it. And then we want to get some of our sauce. And you just want to pour that over the top. Oh, it just smells absolutely gorgeous. I'm glad we've not had lunch yet because this is what we're having. So you can just put as much as that on it as you like. And then you can serve it with veg as well, but I think because there's a bit of veg in it, you don't really need it. There we go. And then because if you've seen anything I do, I'm a huge, huge fan of coriander. So I put a load of coriander on the top just to garnish. Again, you could put on some spring onions. There we go. And that does our cornflake tofu gluten-free katsu curry.
Mate, that looks amazing. That looks so cool. Thank you so much.
That's all right.
I'm going to pop the ingredients back up.
Yeah.
So people can take note of that. But where can people find your recipes and stuff? Because I'm sure if people want to see the whole method and everything, they can find it on your website, right? On your blog.
Yep, they can. It's at copperconfetti.com. And then I'm on social media, all the social medias at Copperconfetti. So it's all on there.
Lovely. Perfect. Awesome. What are you cooking this weekend then?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. I think I was just so excited about my katsu curry. So that's one thing. And I think we quite fancy, one thing, to be fair, we've been quite unhealthy so far during lockdown, I'm not going to lie. So I'm thinking maybe a stir fry, some roasted veg. That's one thing that we really like to do, just cut up a load of veg, bit of oil, bit of paprika, bit of garlic, fire it all in the oven. And that'll do for your dinner. So I think I feel like we need some more veg in our diets at the moment.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming on and doing that. I'm sure everyone's going to be trying that out this weekend. People will be checking out your blog. Yes, exactly. If you do it, then take some pictures, tag us, tag Just Be Show, tag Copperconfetti, and we'll have a little look to see how you guys are getting on. I'm going to leave this up while we just do our little outro. So obviously saying thank you to Sarah. Thanks. It was amazing. Really cool. Looks really tasty. And I'd like to see you back on series 2 and we can do another cook along then, please.
Yep, definitely.
And just to give everyone a nudge that we'll be back next week when we have internationally renowned author, artist, and photographer Sara Kiyo Popowa of Shesodelicious talking plant-based bento boxes and her work as a visual and performance artist. So in the meantime, don't forget to nominate your JVS chat champions, those that have gone above and beyond to help during lockdown. We want brands, companies, individuals. We want to give them the recognition they deserve. So contact us via our social media channels or using the address info@f2fevents.co.uk. We can't wait to see you for our spectacular show in London this autumn. You can get your free tickets in the video description. But until next week, stay home and stay safe. See you later, guys. Cheers.
Bye.